Yo, my name is Sebastian Salvella. So if you read the thumbnail, then you probably thought, oh, what? But let me explain. So the stock market has been way down the past month because of the pandemic. And if you watch any investing channel here on YouTube, then you might hear that it's a great time to buy because everything is at a discount and you could make a fortune in times like these. I too have been saying the same thing on my channel the past couple of videos, and naturally people start asking what they should invest in. Whenever I get that question, I always try to ask if they have an emergency fund, and to my surprise, the answer is often no. So that made me realize how much people focus on the shiny objects or the money that could be made, and not on the solid financial foundation that is needed first. So I thought I made a quick video stressing how important it is to have an emergency fund, especially now, and what your focus should be moving forward. The coronavirus has created a lot of uncertainty in the market and in the economy. So the Dow Jones dropped close to 40% from its high. Big companies and small businesses have been told to shut down. And then people all over the world are being told to stay at home to try to slow down how fast this virus is spreading. So a lot of people are already being laid off, and the unemployment rate is going to continue to go up the longer this shutdown is in effect. I mean, who could have predicted something like this? Even if you felt secure at your job, you and your family members were perfectly healthy, you had no car issues and no debt, it doesn't matter because you just don't know what could happen and why you might need to have some easily accessible money available to you. Not having any money saved up puts you in a tough situation. I mean, what would happen if you were to lose your job in 2 months or 2 weeks? I mean, maybe that's not something you seriously thought about, but this pandemic changes all of that. I mean, you still have your rent or mortgage to pay, your student loans, your car loans, your medical and credit card bills, or all the other bills that you have on top of feeding and maybe supporting other people that depends on you. I mean, a lot of people are dealing with that right now. It's a really sad situation. I mean, I know it sounds obvious that everybody should have an emergency fund, but a study done by Bankrate.com at the beginning of the year found that 4 out of 10 Americans would borrow money to cover a $1,000 emergency. When asked how much they had to pay for the emergency last year, you can see that those expenses can range from less than $1,000 to more than $5,000, with more people reporting that it was more than $5,000. I mean, do you have more than $5,000 available in your bank account? Well, if you don't, now would be a good time to start working on getting there. Depending on your situation, saving could be hard, but it's really about a mindset and prioritizing what's important to you. So it's easier to save money if you have something fun or something specific in mind that you want to spend it on. Whether that's a vacation, a new car, a TV, new clothes. If you make it a priority in your head, then you work to get it. It's a lot harder to put money aside for something that could potentially happen down the road, and that's not happening to you right now. You might already feel stretched thin with the income that you're making now, but start thinking about potential sacrifices you could make to prioritize paying yourself. So for example, my girlfriend got in the habit of buying coffee every morning on her way to work. If she prioritized saving that $3 every day for a whole year instead of buying coffee, she would have saved $1,000. Now, I'm not saying that buying coffee is bad. I mean, if it makes you happy the same way it makes her happy, then by all means, just go for it. But there's probably other expenses in your life that are similar to this one that you could probably cut back on and prioritize saving instead. Now, once you decide to make paying yourself as important as paying any other bills you have, you can start looking at your expenses. Now, this part is crucial because that's the only way you could find out if you're spending more than you're making and where you could cut back. I mean, with all this uncertainty going on, it's more important than ever to find ways to save as much as you can. Go online and open your 3 most recent bank and credit card statements. Now go through each expense individually. Now this might be the hardest part, but you seriously have to consider cutting back on anything that you don't absolutely need. I mean, your lifestyle might change, but I think it's more important to have the peace of mind in knowing that if something did happen, you'll be able to cover it. After dissecting your statements, you have a much better idea of how much money is left and how much you could save. And once you find out how much money you could save, set your bank to automatically send it to a high yield savings account as soon as you get paid, and vow to never touch that account unless it's an emergency. And that's really all it takes. Change your mindset and prioritize paying yourself. Go through your expenses and cut back on any unnecessary spending. Make saving automatic. and be disciplined and not touch your saving unless it's an emergency. How much should you save? Well, the simple answer is 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, and that's what most people recommend. So after looking at all your necessary expenses and adding them all up, then you multiply that number by 3 to 6, and that's the goal you're trying to reach. So if your monthly expenses are $3,000, then you need to save $9,000 to $18,000. But the real answer is always it depends. I mean, you might only feel comfortable having a full year's worth of expenses in your emergency fund because that's what gives you peace of mind. Or you might just like the number 20 and you decide that you want to have $20,000 in there. Or maybe you have a bunch of investment that are making you $3,000 and you don't really need an emergency fund. I mean, if 3 to 6 months is a good place to start, but the number that you actually need in there is always going to depend on you and your situation. Once you reach your goal, anything extra should go towards paying any high interest debt you have, such as credit card debt or anything that you're paying more than 6% interest on. And only then can you start investing, exactly in that order. So if you don't have an emergency fund and or you have high interest debt, you shouldn't even be thinking about investing. Don't try to run before you learn how to walk. If you don't have anything to fall back on during a recession or if you have an emergency, then you'll be forced to take money out of your investments, potentially at a loss if its value dropped. Or worse, you'll accumulate more bad debt from credit cards because that's what most people do when they don't have enough money to cover unexpected expenses. That will set you back even more and put you in a worse position financially. So there you have it. That's all I got for today. If you think this video was helpful, make sure you like it and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to share this video with a family or friend you think might be interested in that type of content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.